You are listening to Unstoppable Actors, the essential podcast for ambitious, unknown actors with me, Louise, the artistic director of Standby Method Acting Studio. And for the last 13 years, I've been taking unknown actors with blank CVs all the way to Netflix dramas, Amazon Prime films, TV soaps and stage plays around the world. And every week I'll be talking with you and sharing how you can become a paid working unstoppable actor, because you 1000% can. An acting career is doable. Are you ready to dive into the episode? There are some acting coaches who are truly phenomenal at what they do. And then there are others who really put their acting students on edge. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. I want to share with you the red flags for you to look out for in acting coaches, because there are acting coaches who can build your talent up and get you to a phenomenal standard and also encourage you and help you to feel confident in yourself. And then there are others that take an approach where they will break you down, and I don't agree with that. This podcast came about because I was speaking in my classes with one of my students, and this student was sharing an experience from another class that she'd been in with a different acting coach, and she told me that she was struggling to connect to the scene. And so what happened is this acting coach was making her do it again and 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 again. And she was getting quite panicky and the nerves were completely taking over. And she said that in the scene, she was supposed to be drinking wine, which was obviously water. And she said she was that nervous and that anxious about the scene, she'd forgotten how to drink water and ended up like snorting all the water up her nose because she was struggling. This is wrong. It was wrong of that acting coach to keep making her and forcing her to do the scene over and over again. That's bullying. And it's more not bullying that's overt, it's covert bullying, which means it's under the radar. It's not that obvious. So why is this wrong? It's wrong because this coach was backing her into a corner and he was making her do something that she was uncomfortable with and getting very dysregulated with. And dysregulated basically means that you're not grounded, you can't think straight, you're not clear on what you're doing. Dysregulation happens in your nervous system. So your nervous system becomes dysregulated, which is where the nerves come from. And when you're nervous, it takes you into something called survival mode. So then you will perform from a place of fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. And in this case, upon reflection of hearing this story, my acting student was in fawn. Fawn is people pleasing. So there's fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. So freeze is stage fright. You'll be aware of that. You'll know what that means. Fight is you're just forcing your way through the scene. Flight is you want to run away from it because you feel really anxious. And fawn is people pleasing. So you're just doing what the coach is saying rather than actually having a voice and saying, no, I need to stop. I don't understand the scene. Can you help me? So there's a couple of things I want to share with you. If you find yourself with an acting coach or tutor or director who is pushing you and pushing you and pushing you and pushing you to do the scene again and again and again and again, and you know you're getting dysregulated because you're feeling nervous, you're feeling a bit chaotic, you're feeling anxious, and you know you're people pleasing, and you've recognised you're in fight, flight, freeze or fawn mode, fawn, F-A-W-N, you have a right to have a voice and say, no, I need to stop. And the reason you do is firstly because nobody should be bullying you. You are not paying someone to be your bully. You are paying someone to coach you. And therefore a coach's job, so this is when you're in classes, by the way, but also as well if this happens on set or in rehearsals for a stage production, you can still say no. So when you're under the guidance of a coach is there to give you guidance, as I've just said. So what should have happened in that scenario is the coach, rather than just pushing this actress to do the scene again and again and again and again and again, forcing her, should have stopped the scene and should have said, okay, I can see that you're struggling with this. You're struggling to connect. What is it that you're struggling with? So when the coach asks that question, they're getting curious. They're trying to learn what is going on inside of that actor. Now, any good coach would know that it's nerves. And if you were under my guidance and you were struggling to connect and you were getting dysregulated, and I could see that, I would take you through an exercise called Step Out. Step Out resets your nervous system. It makes you feel calm. It makes you feel like there's space in your body. It makes you feel like you can breathe. It makes you feel like you can think clearly. Because when you cannot think clearly because the nerves and the anxiety are taking over, you'll never connect. Never. So all that's happening when that coach is pushing you to do the scene over and over again is you are learning that you are not very good. And then you will start to carry that story around with you that you are not good enough. And that's not the truth. So I would take you through something called Step Out. The coach should be asking what's going on for you. And then if you don't understand the scene and you're just not getting what's going on, then we should go to script analysis. And we should refresh ourselves on given circumstances, scene needs, the 9 steps of a scene. That's what we should be going through. Then once you've got it clear in your mind intellectually, then we should do the scene again and see what happens. Now, if you're still struggling to connect to it, but now you understand it logically, we should stop the scene again. We should do another step out to get you to calm, relax, breathe, have space. And then it's down to the coach to identify what the problem is that you're having. Is it an emotional connection that you're struggling with? Is it a focus problem? If it's a focus problem, we can do a sense memory exercise. If it's an emotional connection problem, there's a number of exercises we could do. We could do personalisation, we could do substitution. In this instance, I wouldn't recommend effective memory. I think that would be just taking the actor a step too far. So I'd work with one of those two, and then we'd go again. And then if the scene was still not making progress, we'd go back, we'd do a step out again, and we'd talk, okay, what is it that you're struggling with? And then I'd give feedback on what I can see happening. And then depending on what it is, we would go through another exercise. Now, if it's a focus again, the focus is everywhere, we'd do an independent activity. If it's character connection, we would do an exercise maybe like yes and, or tell me who you are, or tell me what you need. We'd do something like that. That is what a coach should be doing. Giving you exercises, figuring out your problem as the actor and where the lack of connection is, helping you relax, and then giving you an exercise to go through it. It is not a coach's job to keep bullying you to do a scene again and again and again. Even if you're feeling anxious and that coach is seeing something in you, the feeling of anxiety, it's not useful for the character. It's not, because that feeling of anxiety cannot be lent to the given circumstances, because you as the actor are just inside your own head wondering what the fuck is going on and why can't I connect to this scene. And in method acting, that's called mental tension. Mental tension is any thought that blocks you from connecting to your pure imagination and then using that to influence the scene in a creative way that works alongside the given circumstances. So if you find a coach and they are telling you to do the scene over and over and over and over again, and you're going into survival mode, or you're starting to feel dysregulated, or you just don't get it, stop. Take your power back from that person. Do not let them bully you, and say, no, I'm not connecting to it. I need your help. You are well within your rights to do that. Another red flag to spot in an acting coach is one who will not give you constructive feedback. This comes from my own personal experience. When I was at drama school and we were rehearsing for the showcase, this was when we were in our 3rd year, I was really struggling with the scene that I was doing, but I was trying my best. I was working really hard on it, trying to find a connection. I was struggling to make that connection, but I got up and did the scene anyway at the rehearsals. And the director went down the line, so we were all sat in the rehearsal room we were all sat against the wall on the floor. I was one of the last people he got to because I was at the end of the line. And when he got to me, he looked me square in the eyes and he said, "That was fucking shit." That is also bullying. That is not constructive feedback. Now, I was young and naive. I was only 21, and I thought, oh, it's okay for drama school directors to talk to you like that. No, it bloody well is not. It is not. You will not ruin your reputation, which is where a lot of directors and coaches get their power from, by telling you that you will ruin your reputation if you speak up for yourself. No, you will not. You will take your power back, and they may or may not like that, depending on how emotionally healthy they are, but you have a right not to accept that. Louise now, age 38, would never take that from anyone. I would never take it from anyone. But at 21 years old, very naive, didn't know any other way, I took it. The problem with that, him telling me I was fucking shit, and they were his exact words, is there is no way that I can improve from that. And then what happened is those words were playing in a loop in my head every time I was in that scene. And when I went to my showcase and performed that scene, I carried that belief that I was fucking shit. And I not only carried that belief in my showcase, and by the way, didn't get signed by an agent, had no casting directors interested in me, because why would I? Because I was playing that story in my head, which is another form of mental tension because it stops me from connecting to the scene. But I also carried that story around for years. I had to have EMDR therapy to release that story, because that story of me being shit was not the truth, but I believed that it was. And now I no longer believe it. Now I go, no, that's not the truth. What should have happened in that moment is the director should have said to me, you weren't connected. You weren't connected to the scene. You weren't connected to any of it. And again, they should have got curious and they should have asked me, what's going on inside of you? Which is something I always ask my actors. If I can see they are out of the scene mentally, I will ask them, what are you telling yourself in your head? And usually they'll say something like, oh, I'm wondering if I'm doing good enough, or I'm wondering what you're thinking, or I'm struggling to make these lines sound real and believable for me. And then we'll go, okay, that's mental tension. Now, let's do a step out and then let's draw upon your relaxation exercise. And every time you catch yourself saying those thoughts, give yourself permission to relax and then find an object of attention and focus on that to take you through the scene. That's what we do. Now, that is what my director should have done to me. But I wasn't trained in method acting at drama school, so there's no way my director would have known any of these exercises. However, they should have still got curious and they should have drawn upon the exercises that they know of to get me to unlock my connection to the scene. So if someone gives you criticism, that is criticism, and it's not constructive and it's not feedback and it's not designed in any way, shape or form to help you improve, don't take it from them. Reject it. Because an acting coach should be there to highlight your weak spots and your blind spots in a compassionate way. Sometimes it might need to be a little bit firm with you if you're not really listening, but still kind with the firmness, and then share what to do to overcome that. That is what you are paying a coach for. Here's a third example and another red flag to spot in an acting coach. After I'd finished drama school and I was carrying around this belief that I was fucking shit because that director had told me that, I went to some other acting classes. And he was called an acting tutor. That's what he called himself, an acting tutor. I saw him week on week on week on week give this same actress really bad feedback every single week until she left. Rather than telling her how to improve and the exercises that she needs to get to connect, he just kept giving her such bad feedback till she, I can't speak for her, but I imagine that she started to believe, well, I'm just crap, so I might as well stop. And she left. And I never knew or found out what happened to that actress. I don't know whether she quit acting altogether or whether she found another class to go to. What baffled me is this acting tutor, and I'm not going to name who it is, but this acting tutor was hailed as amazing, legendary, a pioneer. And what I saw was a bully. I didn't see any of those things. When you are exchanging your money with an acting coach, you are exchanging it for feedback, which is constructive, and exercises, not just to be told you're shit. Not to be forced to do a scene again and again and again, because in my mind, and it might ruffle a few feathers amongst acting coaches, any that happen to be listening to this, but in my mind, those acting coaches are on an ego trip and they do not have your best self at the forefront of their mind. They can't, because they're bullying you. So if you spot those three things, even if your voice is shaking and your hands are trembling and your heart is pounding out of your chest, you find it in yourself to say, no, you need to stop that. You need to stop making me do the scene over and over again. It's clear I'm not connecting to it. It's clear I'm struggling with it. Or you need to say, no, I'm not accepting that criticism that my scene was rubbish because it doesn't help me. Or you need to say, no, I'm not accepting this. I've noticed every single week you are giving me feedback that is very negative and you are not showing me how to improve. So how can I be expected to improve? Now, it's all in the delivery. You can deliver it soft but firm. You don't criticize the other person. You don't get to their level, but that's what you do. If you like what you've heard from the way I coach my acting students and it's resonating with you and you want to be coached in that way where It's identified what your acting weak spots are, and then you're given actual exercises, not just shit feedback, which I would never give anyway, because I know what it feels like to receive it. If you like the way I coach, I would highly encourage you to come and join the Method Actors Circle. The Method Actors Circle is a monthly membership. It's brand new, and so we've got an introduction price of £19 per month, which is absolutely amazing. It has been designed to give you a monthly 4-hour character development class and a monthly audition class called the Audition Zone. And what it will do is it will help you transform your talent so you feel confident in yourself. You know what to do whenever a problem arises, either in an audition or the middle of a scene in a production, and you can, work it out yourself. You can draw upon an exercise quickly to help you get back in the moment, so that casting directors and directors are hooked into your performances and you start to open doors for yourself. So these are online classes every month. If you can't ever attend a class live, all the classes are recorded anyway, and they're uploaded into our portal, so then you can watch them in your own time. £19 a month is amazing. Truly an amazing price for 5 hours of coaching, hands-on coaching every single month. It's less than £5 an hour, way less than that. And also as well, there are lots of surprises that are going to be thrown in amongst the way, but I'm not going to tell you what they are. At the time of recording this podcast, you have got 8 days to grab your place for £19 per month. The link is underneath this episode. Go and check it out. Go and read up on it. There's FAQs, frequently asked questions, right at the bottom of the page. There's the class timetable on there so you can check it out. There's all the information, and there's lots of lovely reviews and testimonials from past students so you can see from them exactly how method acting has helped them. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I hope it has given you some sort of confidence, and the confidence to say no and challenge someone in a soft but firm way when they are not giving you what you need as an actor when they are coaching you. All I ever want for you is that you actually make your acting career happen. You can't do that from a place of thinking that you're shit or wondering what you're doing wrong. You can only make that happen when you know what exercises you need under your belt to make sure you're constantly connecting to the character and the emotions. So I really hope it's been useful, and I'll see you in the next episode. I've absolutely loved hanging out with you, and I really hope you found this episode inspiring. If you have, please do rate the podcast and hit follow so you never miss an episode, and I can help more actors like you. And come and join one of the most supportive, uplifting acting communities on socials, the Unstoppable Actors Facebook group, where you'll get your weekly injection of inspiration, networking, and receive your free Method Actors handbook so you can become an unstoppable actor.